My name is Paige. I'm a 25-year-old office worker. Alex and I have been together for 3 years and he proposed to me yesterday. I wanted to marry Alex too, so of course I said yes. Today, we're at the house of Alex's grandparents' house. His grandfather is Theodore and his grandmother is Catherine. Alex and I met because of them. We came here today to report our engagement to them.
Wow, that's amazing! Congratulations!
I'm very happy to hear that great news. I can't believe that Alex, who used to be a little boy, is now engaged.
I'm truly grateful for the both of you, Grandma, Grandpa, for taking good care of me like my direct parents. What are you saying? Of course we adore you! You're our grandson! What kind of grandparents wouldn't want to take care of their grandchildren?
That's right. Also, you'll be our grandchild from now on too, Paige. If you need anything, you can count on us to help you, okay? My mother, Penny, is also a very kind and gentle woman. Whenever I'm with Mr. Theodore and Mrs. Catherine, I feel like I'm with my mother. It almost feels like we're related by blood. I truly love them from the bottom of my heart. However, there is a problem I have with their family. I'm talking about Alex's parents. They are very, peculiar people. Alex lives in a huge house that only very wealthy people can afford. His father, Mr. Troy, is the president of a large company, and his mother, Miss Scarlett, was the wife of a company president. She is a very busy woman who attends social gatherings and tea parties with bureaucrats and famous people all year round. Mr. Theodore and Mrs. Catherine thought that it would be lonely for young Alex if he was alone in the huge house with only servants around, so they decided to be by his side and take care of him. On the other hand, I grew up in a single-mother household. My mother worked hard every day to provide for us, so we didn't have any problems financially. But still, Alex and I live in very different worlds. That is why, the first time I went to Alex's house, this was before he proposed to me, by the way, I was a nervous wreck with my heart thumping faster than I thought possible. Alex and I were soon standing in front of the door. Before we reached the doorbell, I was surprised to hear the door click open. A man wearing a fine suit. His eyes looked like Alex, so I thought, this man is Alex's father. I instantly guessed. I hastily bowed my head and said, "Nice to meet you, sir. My name is Paige."
Hey, are you the newcomer? There's dust in the stairs!
Huh?
Don't respond with a huh to me! It seems like this servant wants to get fired!
Wait a second, has he mistaken me for a servant? I didn't know how to respond to what he just said. Then Alex came to the rescue.
Hey, Dad! This is Paige, my girlfriend! Didn't I tell you that I'm bringing her here today? Huh?
After hearing what Alex said, his father looked at me from head to toe and said,
Son? Seriously? Huh? I don't want to deal with this nonsense. I'm busy with urgent work, so I'm busy.
Alex's father then hopped into the black car and drove away. I mean, didn't he ask Alex if he was serious? What did he mean by that? After Alex's father drove away, a woman wearing luxury brand clothes walked out of the door and appeared in front of us.
Mom!
It seemed like this woman standing in front of us is Alex's mother. Don't tell me that poor woman is your girlfriend. You're just kidding, right? She's dirty, so she's not worth considering. Go home. His mother looked at me and jutted her chin towards me. She made a fainting pose and a cold look in her eyes.
Mom, Dad, what's wrong with the two of you? Why don't you greet Paige properly?
Huh? Greet her? Why do I need to greet that? Your father and I don't have to bow down to people like her. Nor do we have the time to deal with them. Whoever you choose to date is your choice. Be it someone useless or not, I don't care. Just don't involve me and your father in this. After that, Alex apologized to me again and again about his parents' behavior. But I realized that when dating someone from a family of extreme wealth, it is inevitable to have to deal with this kind of problem due to differences in the family background. However, the person that I'm dating is Alex and not his family. After that horrible conversation with his parents, Alex and I continued to be together. Then, a few years later, Alex and I got engaged. However, the thing that came to mind was Alex's parents, Mr. Troy and Mrs. Scarlett. All I see in the future with them is conflict. With that worry getting bigger in my head, Alex and I headed to their house to report our engagement.
Huh? You're engaged?
Of course that is not possible. But that's what I expected them to say, but I guess they really said it. I'm sorry, but why is it not possible? Huh? Because if Alex marries a filthy woman like you, our acquaintances, the bureaucrats and celebrities, will laugh at us.
Our subsidiary will also underestimate us if you get married to our son.
Our status will also plummet down.
Both of you, stop it!
That's when Alex stood up.
I've had enough of your nonsense. I'll cut ties with you and marry Paige. That way, there won't be a problem, right?
Wait, what, Alex? I panicked when Alex declared to his parents that he would cut ties with them. His parents replied,
What makes you think we will allow you to do that?
That's right, because you are our precious successor.
This is the first time I've heard you say that. There's no need to tell you every time. You are our son, after all. All you need to do is follow what we tell you to do. Understood?
I feel sorry for Alex. Actually, Alex opened up to me about his childhood. He said that he was very lonely because his parents never played with him. Even at a young age, Alex could tell that his parents didn't have any interest in him. He also told me that when he was a boy, he cried a lot when he realized his parents value company and social gatherings more than they value their son. I bet Alex has been pushed around by his father and mother like this. That night, while eating dinner, I talked to my mother about what happened that day. Is that so? That happened. Paige, how about I go with you next time for your marriage greeting? Huh? Because those people seem to be sticklers for family status. So do you agree that as your mother, I should go with you? I wasn't sure I should bring my mother with me because Alex's parents still don't approve of me. But my mother looked like she had a plan. So I asked Alex if it was possible for my mother to go with us. Alex replied with a positive to that situation. Alex loves my mother, so he thought that maybe if his parents met her, they will approve of us being together. At first, Mr. Troy and Mrs. Scarlett were reluctant. However, when Alex told them that my mother was a great person, his parents seemed to be intrigued. With that said, a few days later, Alex and I, together with my mother, went to visit his parents.
Alex told us that you are a great person, so we made the time to meet you. But the way you dress and everything about you looks very ordinary and poor.
We thought that you were a bureaucrat or something. I thought that we'd be able to expand our social circle. I feel like I lost a bit.
How dare you!
It's fine, Alex. Don't worry about me. My mother said to Alex in a calm and I'll extend manner.
I heard from Alex that you're a single mother.
You're not only poor, but a single mother. What a pitiful and sad mother and daughter. Why does she assume that we're pitiful and sad just because my mother is a single mother? I live a happy life because my mother worked hard to raise me.
What nonsense! Daughter of a single mother, how undesirable! Why do we have to accept a woman who's undesirable?
Okay, now please leave. We are very busy people. Mr. Troy and Mrs. Scarlett stood up in the seat in unison. They started to walk out the door. However, little did they know that at that time, a terrible shock was waiting for them just around the corner. On their way outside the door, Mrs. Scarlett said, "Oh, I only have an hour until the tea party. You, servant over there, bring me the most expensive perfume. I smell like a poor woman now because I was talking to these poor women."
Someone, anyone, clean the room where those peasants sat down, because I like to keep things clean.
Hey, wait a minute. What do you think you're saying? That is very rude. Hearing me say that, Mr. Troy and Mrs. Scarlett turned around and they looked at me with cold eyes. Huh? Why is a poor girl talking back to us?
You should at least be thankful that we made time for you, because we're talking to you, peasants, even though we won't gain anything from getting involved with you.
What? That's when my mother said, "Just stay right there and don't say anything, okay?" My mother told me, and then she stood up slowly then. "Did I hear you right? You said that a household with a single mother is not happy? To me, you look more sad."
What did you just say?
You think that happiness can be measured by money, status, and honor. You guys are living a very boring life.
Boring? Of course not. We live a way better life than you.
What I'm telling you is that your value system is sad. You guys don't know, do you? That one can be happy just by seeing how happy one's child is. Do you continue living life without knowing that kind of happiness?
Did you just call us poor?
Then, just when Mrs. Scarlet tried to grab my mother's hair... Scarlet, stop it. Alex's grandmother, Catherine, and his grandfather, Theodore, walked into the room where we were.
Mom? Dad?
Why are you here?
Paige, Alex, Mrs. Penny, I apologize for the rude behavior of my lame son.
Mr. Theodore and Mrs. Catherine bowed their heads to us.
You two, why are you apologizing to them? I mean, what are you doing here all of a sudden?
Mrs. Page called us to come.
Huh? You two forgot, didn't you? Mrs. Page is the doctor who treated me when I had a myocardial infarction. What? A doctor?
That's right. Alex and I first met at the hospital where my mother was working. His grandfather was admitted to that same hospital. His mother and father never paid Mr. Theodore a visit to the hospital, but Alex visited his grandfather at the hospital every day. After the surgery, Alex was worried about his grandfather who didn't wake up right away. Alex was alone in the hallway looking exhausted, so I approached him and that's how we got to know each other. We became good friends after that. Troy, didn't you say to Alex that since he is your son, he should do as you say?
What? With that logic, since you're a son, you'll do as we say, right? But...
With that said, you will accept Alex and Paige's wedding, okay?
What? Wait a minute.
Scarlet, you were an ordinary young lady who grew up in an ordinary family, aren't you?
What? Is that true?
But after you married Troy, you were praised as the wife of the president of a large corporation. Is that why you became bolder and bolder?
No, I'm just doing this so the status of the family won't go down.
You shut your mouth up. Generally speaking, the family's prestige is not something to protect. If it means that it will make your child miserable, worldly things like that should be discarded.
That's right, what she said. Now, Troy, Scarlet, both of you need to do something, don't you? What do you mean, Father? Of course. It's to apologize to Mrs. Penny and Mrs. Page, as well as to Alex.
With the intensity of Mr. Theodore's words, Mr. Troy and Mrs. Scarlet were startled. They then looked disapproved and said,
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, I don't get the sense of them having apologized to anyone at all. Seeing the two of them apologize like that, Mrs. Catherine and Mr. Theodore said,
My darling, these two are no good.
You're right, darling. I was thinking of forgiving them if they apologized sincerely, but...
Troy, I will send you overseas to do volunteer work for a while. What? Volunteer work? Yes, that's right. It's a country with poor public safety. But, well, don't worry about the company. Leave the operation to me, the owner of the company.
As for you, Scarlet, you will be sent to the temple, where you will be eating the vegetation food of the monks instead of the sweets you get at social gatherings.
What? The temple? Why the temple?
Just like that, the two of them were shirked into the car by the servants that Mr. Theodore and Mrs. Catherine instructed. And then they started shouting, "No, I don't want to!" They then looked at my mother, me, and Alex, stuttering.
I'm truly sorry for what we've done.
Oh, I had no choice. Please forgive me.
They said something that hardly sounded like an apology, so I replied,
Huh? What are you saying?
There's no way we will forgive you. The two of you are really pitiful and miserable people.
Don't you ever show your faces to us again! Look away!
After that, when the doors of the car that Troy and Scarlet are in, The two cars drove off and left a cloud of dust behind. We saw the two of them cursing at us through the glass windows, but we didn't hear their voices at all. After that, I heard that Troy was flown to a country that is known for poor public safety, and he is working at a great risk. As for Scarlet, she was sent to a temple that is known to be very strict. I heard that she's living every day being scolded by the chief priest. Both of them are used to living a very affluent lifestyle, so they're having an extremely difficult time. As for me, Alex and I finally got married. Alex became the successor to Troy's company. Alex is currently studying under the instruction of the acting company president, who Mr. Theodore trusts. When Troy and Scarlett told Alex to become the successor of the company, he thought,
You don't get to decide my future!
but when Mr. Theodore asked him to become the successor of the company, he readily accepted the position to succeed the company. It truly is very important to consider who says what. The other day, my mother came to visit us. Here you go, sweet potatoes, your favorite. I cooked plenty for you. Yay! Sweet potatoes that my mom cooked!
Mrs. Penny, you're very busy, but thank you very much for taking the time to visit us and cook Paige's favorite food. I love this too. Whenever I eat your cooking, I feel kinder and happier.
That is very nice of you to say that. You can tell me anytime you want to eat it again, okay? I'll cook plenty and bring it here. Thank you very much, Mom. Enjoying delicious food with my beloved family, I might be at the peak of my happiness right now. Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for more!